I want to get more on this from David Clement, who is the North American Affairs Manager for the Consumer Choice Center based in Toronto, Canada. He joins us with more on China as well as the United States relationship with the WHO. David, really great to have you with us. I'm curious to just get your initial take on how this two-day conference has played out with the U.S. president sending in his Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar in his place to once again double down and criticize the World Health Organization, putting the blame on the world body as well as China for its initial handling of this pandemic.
I think that the secretary's criticism is valid. I mean, if we look at the World Health Organization's response, upwards until late January, they were parroting the Chinese Communist Party's line that the virus was not transferable between humans. And so when world leaders look to what is supposed to be the World Health Organization, literally in its name, for guidance, it was providing the world with misinformation and actually possibly disinformation being given to them from the Chinese Communist Party. So I think that his criticism is certainly valid.
I'm curious to know the dynamics that are at play because the WHO has been accused by the U.S. president of being a puppet of China. But if the world body is largely funded by Western powers, why would it have that accusation of a bias toward China?
So first off, I think it's clear that there is a bias in terms of how they handle China. The first example is the example that I mentioned in terms of giving out information that was false, that was given to them unquestionably from the Chinese Communist Party. The second is how the World Health Organization treats Taiwan, a hot button issue for Beijing, but one that should really be a no-brainer in terms of the World Health Organization acknowledging Taiwan. And so it's very clear that the World Health Organization is, in many senses, bowing or giving into the will of the Chinese Communist Party. And so I think that that's a huge problem. Part of the reason why that has happened is I think that there's a bit of a vacuum in terms of global leadership. The Trump administration has withdrawn itself from world leadership, which comes with both praise and criticism. And unfortunately, the Chinese Communist Party is filling some of that void. And I think that's where some of that bias comes from. And then you have the ongoing problem of the WHO's, what I would view, expanded and silly mandate to focus their efforts beyond pandemics and global pathogens. Over the last few decades, the WHO has gone from a body that really focused on solving issues in regards to pathogens and global disease like malaria, and has narrowed its sights weirdly on things like banning forms of harm reduction like vaping, on trying to oppose intellectual property, which is the basis of how cures and vaccines are made, and even going so far as to do very silly things like declaring video game disorder something that was in its mandate to pursue on the global stage. And so I think it's clear that the WHO is caving to China, and its expanded mandate is further demonstrating the need for reform or the need to fully defund.
Well, David Clement, we really appreciate you coming on to share your perspective with us. Thanks for that.